Shakeup at Buckingham Palace as one royal staffer steps down amid controversy. The palace confirms on November 30th that an unnamed member of King Charles III
Take up at Buckingham Palace as one royal staffer steps down amid controversy. The palace confirms on November 30th that an unnamed member of King Charles III, the Governor-General, stated that we need a new session of Parliament. She has granted this request, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th. The world was in shock. After years of waiting, King Charles shocked everyone with a single statement: "I am stepping down." For someone who had been prepared for this role his entire life, this wasn't just a surprise announcement. It was a shocking move that sent waves through the British monarchy, the public, and the world. So why would King Charles, who had spent decades getting ready for this moment, decide to walk away? What could have caused him to make such a big decision? Keep reading to find out the real reasons behind his resignation and what it means for the future of the royal family. When King Charles stepped in front of the cameras and announced, "I resign," the world could hardly believe it. The news spread quickly, leaving millions of people asking, what just happened? The British monarchy, known for its tradition and stability, had never seen anything like this before. I think the monarchy is in a lot of trouble because, they've lost their star player. The big difference isn't so much Charles himself, but the fact that he's not the Queen, and the Queen was the monarchy for so many people, one observer commented. A reigning king stepping down was unthinkable. The media quickly exploded with questions. Historians and royal experts scrambled to understand why King Charles would make such a drastic decision. Was the responsibility of being king too much for him? Had the pressure of leading the country and carrying the weight of such a long history finally taken its toll? Or was there something else, something personal, driving this unexpected choice? As the world speculated, one thing was clear. The monarchy was facing an uncertain future. No one knew what would happen next. As people anxiously waited for an explanation, the full impact of King Charles's resignation started to set in. What did it mean for the future of the royal family? Was this the end of the monarchy as we know it, or the start of something entirely new? King Charles's resignation raised more questions than it answered, and everyone was left wondering what would come next. The weight of the crown. For many people, becoming king is a dream come true, but for King Charles, it might have felt more like a burden. From the moment he was born, his life was planned out: training, duty, expectations. The young prince himself was sleeping peacefully through most of the proceedings and was equally serene in the arms of his great-grandmother, Queen Mary. Every moment of his life was under the watchful eye of the public. As the heir to the throne, Charles was always in the spotlight. The pressure to live up to his mother's legacy, Queen Elizabeth II, who ruled for more than 70 years, was enormous. Her reign had been one of strength, dignity, and consistency. The comparisons were unavoidable. No matter what he did, Charles was always measured against his mother's example. Over time, it must have felt like an impossible task to live up to such a giant legacy. But it wasn't just the public pressure. The demands of royal life, public appearances, charity work, and endless responsibilities took a serious toll on King Charles's mental and emotional health. On top of that, personal struggles, including his complicated marriage to Princess Diana and his strained relationships with his children, added even more pressure. Given everything he had been through, it's not hard to see why, after all these years, King Charles might have concluded that stepping down was the only way to protect both his well-being and his legacy. As news of his resignation spread, many began to reflect on the intense pressure that the monarchy placed on Charles. Was this decision the result of pure exhaustion, or was it a final stance against an institution that demanded too much of one person? Whatever the reason, the monarchy's future now faced a new direction without King Charles. A kingdom built on continuity. The British monarchy is one of the oldest institutions in the world, built on a foundation of tradition, continuity, and stability. For centuries, the royal family has been a symbol of unity for the nation, a constant presence. In the lives of millions, King Charles's decision to step down shook the stability of the monarchy. Monarchs, as history has shown, were never supposed to resign voluntarily. Now, the very core of the monarchy was in question. In a country where tradition holds so much weight, the idea of a monarch walking away from the throne is almost unthinkable. The British people have witnessed many historical moments, but this was something entirely different. Was King Charles's resignation an attempt to modernize the monarchy? Did he see that in today's world, the institution had to evolve in ways previous generations never had to? These were the burning questions everyone asked as the news broke. This break from tradition wasn't just a personal choice for Charles. It was a clear signal that the monarchy could no longer rely solely on the old ways. The next monarch would need to adapt to a changing world and redefine what it meant to lead the British royal family. Passing the baton. In many ways, King Charles was handing over the baton to the next generation, a generation that would need to navigate the challenges of the modern world. But by resigning, did he risk undermining the very foundation of the monarchy? Or was his resignation simply a sign that he understood the need for change within the royal family? The monarchy's future now hung in the balance, and the world waited, unsure of what would come next for the royal family without Charles at the helm. A family torn apart. When King Charles made his decision to step down, it wasn't just the nation that was affected. The royal family itself felt the impact. How did his children, especially Prince William, react to this unexpected turn of events? Charles's decision likely caused tension within the family as each member had to come to terms with what this new path forward would look like. Some may have supported him, but others could have seen it as a betrayal of the royal legacy. For Prince William, the shift meant taking on the responsibility of assuming the throne sooner than expected. The weight of the crown was now on his shoulders, and the world would be watching to see how he would handle this new, unexpected reality. The choice of King Charles's successor. He succeeds me as Duke of Cornwall and takes on the responsibilities for the Duchy of Cornwall, which I have undertaken for more than 5 decades, Charles said. The decision of who will follow King Charles on the throne is one of the most important moments in the monarchy's modern history. Prince William is widely seen as the natural choice to step into his father's shoes, but his leadership will be under intense scrutiny. He will have to balance the long-standing expectations of the royal family with the high demands of the public, who will be looking for someone who can bring both stability and modernity to the monarchy. The new king will face the challenge of honoring the traditions of the past while also embracing the needs and desires of a changing world. For a monarchy that has stood for over 1,000 years, this moment feels like a crossroads. Can it adapt to the fast-evolving modern world? Or will it struggle to survive in a time when the monarchy's role is increasingly questioned? With King Charles stepping aside, the royal family now faces these critical questions. The future of the monarchy may be uncertain, but one thing is clear. This moment will forever change the course of British history. The world will be watching to see if the British monarchy can evolve or if it will risk becoming irrelevant. Shock and support. When King Charles announced his resignation, the public response was a mix of shock, confusion, and, surprisingly, even support. The Governor-General confirmed the need for a new session of Parliament, and the House will now be prorogued until March 24th. The world had never seen a monarch voluntarily step down, and the news sparked a flurry of speculation. Some were horrified by the idea that the British monarchy might not be the same as it once was, while others saw the resignation as a brave, even necessary, move for the future of the institution. Supporters of King Charles's resignation argued that it demonstrated a remarkable level of self-awareness and maturity. They saw his departure as a step toward a more progressive and modernized monarchy, one that understood the pressures of leadership in today's world. For them, stepping down wasn't a sign of weakness, but rather a chance for the monarchy to evolve and move forward with someone younger who could bring fresh ideas and energy into the role. Royal duty. Seeing his resignation as a betrayal of the institution he had spent his whole life preparing to lead, some even feared that his move could be the beginning of the end for the monarchy itself. These mixed emotions left the public deeply divided. Some were hopeful for a new era, while others mourned the loss of the traditional monarchy they had grown up with. But one thing was undeniable. By King Charles III, the likeness of Queen Elizabeth will forever stand outside York Minster Cathedral, looking down on what will now be called Queen Elizabeth Square. King Charles had shocked the world, and the consequences of his resignation would be felt for years to come. The public's response was one of deep reflection on what the monarchy had stood for and what its future might look like. Was this a new beginning, or was it the beginning of the end? Prince William's burden. As the heir to the throne, Prince William was always expected to inherit the crown eventually. But the question now was, could he handle the immense weight of the monarchy at such a young age, especially when thrust into the role unexpectedly? The public had always seen him as the natural choice to become king, but now, with his father stepping down sooner than anyone had anticipated, the situation had changed. The pressure on William was mounting. He had always been groomed for leadership, but stepping into his father's shoes so suddenly brought with it an enormous burden. Would he be ready to lead the monarchy in a way that would balance both tradition and the needs of a modern Britain? His leadership had been tested before, but now, under the intense spotlight, his every move would be scrutinized. The British people and the international community would be watching closely to see how he would reshape the monarchy for the next generation. The challenges that Prince William now faced were unprecedented. Not only would he need to manage the public's expectations, but he would also have to deal with the political, social, and economic pressures that came with being the head of state. His ability to balance the traditional duties of the monarchy with the needs of a rapidly changing world would define his reign and ultimately determine whether the monarchy would thrive or falter under his leadership. As King Charles stepped down, all eyes turned to Prince William. The weight of the crown was heavy, and many wondered if he was truly prepared for the monumental task ahead. Only time would reveal whether he could honor his father's legacy while also adapting the monarchy for the future, ensuring its survival for generations to come. Prince William's role. Prince William's RAF paternity leave has ended, which means he'll have to tear himself away from Prince George and return to his search and rescue job. King Charles's resignation marked the end of an era for the British monarchy. After decades of anticipation, the world watched as he stepped away from the role he had spent his life preparing for. King Charles's legacy. His reign, although brief, was characterized by his desire to bring modernization to the monarchy. However, his sudden departure left many questioning how his legacy would be remembered. For years, Charles had worked to balance royal tradition with a need for progress, focusing on social issues like climate change and attempting to make the monarchy more relatable to younger generations. Yet his resignation prompted many to wonder whether his efforts had been successful or if he had failed to live up to the expectations placed upon him. Would history review him as a monarch who dared to challenge tradition, or as one who walked away too soon? The British monarchy had always symbolized continuity, and King Charles's resignation threatened that core principle. His sudden decision left a void in the royal family, and many questioned whether this move would tarnish the institution's reputation. However, it also created an opportunity for Prince William to step forward and prove himself as a capable leader, one who could carry the monarchy into a new era. Historians would likely debate King Charles's decision for years to come. Was it an act of courage and foresight, or a mistake that would signal the monarchy's decline? A crossroads for the monarchy. One thing was certain: the legacy of King Charles, no matter how short his reign, would remain a topic of discussion for years to come. With King Charles's resignation, the British royal family found itself at a crossroads, facing an uncertain future. Prince William, who had long been expected to inherit the throne, would now be thrust into the role much sooner than anticipated. But what did this mean for the royal family and the monarchy as a whole? The monarchy's transition. Was the monarchy truly prepared for such a drastic shift? Prince William would have to navigate this transition carefully, balancing the demands of tradition with the need for change. The royal family had long been seen as a symbol of stability, but Charles's resignation had shaken that image. How the world took the news. The news of King Charles's resignation sent shockwaves across the globe. For many, it was an unprecedented event, raising questions about the future of the monarchy. Leaders, political figures, and celebrities from around the world reacted with a mixture of support, shock, and speculation. What did this mean for global diplomacy? How would it impact the British monarchy's relationships with other countries? For some world leaders, the resignation was seen as a positive shift, a move toward a more modern and adaptive monarchy. Leaders from progressive nations hoped that King Charles's decision indicated the royal family was finally ready to evolve with the times. They believed this moment could open the door to a more inclusive and contemporary approach to leadership, one that would resonate with younger generations globally. On the other hand, there were those who expressed concern about the impact of such a decision on more traditional monarchies. A sudden resignation was virtually unheard of, and many feared it could destabilize the institution. Some even worried that the resignation might trigger a ripple effect, shaking the confidence in monarchies worldwide. As the news spread, it became clear that King Charles's resignation was not just a personal decision. The global impact of King Charles's resignation. Across the Commonwealth, it was a momentous event that would influence the monarchy's future and its global standing. The international response highlighted just how significant the British royal family is not only within the United Kingdom, but across the globe. King Charles's decision to step down was far from a purely British matter. It was a global event with far-reaching implications. His legacy and the future of the monarchy would shape not only the political landscape in the United Kingdom, but also global culture and international relationships for years to come. The royal family faces an unexpected challenge. With King Charles's shocking resignation, the royal family found itself confronted with an unexpected challenge: how to maintain its public image in the aftermath. For decades, the monarchy had been a symbol of stability, tradition, and continuity. However, in the wake of such an unprecedented move by the king, many questioned how the family could rebuild trust and retain their relevance. Prince William, now poised to take the throne much sooner than anticipated, faced immense pressure to restore the royal family's tarnished image. He had always been viewed as the natural heir, but the sudden vacancy left by his father raised many questions. How would he approach the job? Would he honor the time-honored traditions of the monarchy, or would he seek to modernize it to meet the expectations of today's world? The family's image had already been under strain due to personal scandals, public rifts, and the evolving perceptions of the monarchy's place in modern society. Now, with King Charles stepping down, the situation was even more complex. The royal family faced a critical choice. Would they rise to the challenge? Or would this resignation signal the beginning of the end for an institution that had stood for centuries? For the monarchy to maintain public confidence, it would be essential to show that it could adapt to the changing times while remaining true to its core values. Whether they could succeed would hinge on how well they handled this unprecedented moment, and whether Prince William could step up to unite the family and usher in a new era for the monarchy. Prince William's role in a new era. As Prince William steps into the spotlight as heir to the British throne, he faces an uncertain future for the monarchy. The world has always viewed him as the future king, but now, with the future suddenly thrust upon him far sooner than expected, the stakes are higher than ever. The question on everyone's mind is, what will his reign look like? And can he uphold the legacy of the monarchy while steering it into the 21st century? Prince William's approach to leadership will be pivotal in shaping the monarchy's trajectory. He has spent years preparing for this moment, but now, with King Charles's resignation, he must prove that he is ready for the immense responsibility ahead. Balancing the monarchy's deep-rooted traditions with the evolving demands of a modern society will define his success as king. Monumental challenges ahead. The challenges Prince William faces are monumental. He will not only need to safeguard the monarchy's image, but also ensure its political, social, and economic relevance in an increasingly fast-paced world. The monarchy can no longer function in the same way it did in the past. Prince William must be more than a symbolic figurehead. He must become a leader capable of uniting both the country and the royal family, while forging connections with younger generations. Simultaneously, Prince William will be under intense global scrutiny. Every decision, action, and even personal aspect of his life will be closely examined by both the public and the media. The pressure to succeed will be enormous. But if anyone can bear the weight of the crown, it is him. The future of the monarchy now rests firmly in his hands. A legacy and a pledge. I, William, Prince of Wales, pledge my loyalty to you in faith and truth I will bear unto you as your liege man of life and limb. So help me God. As King Charles steps down from the throne, he leaves behind a legacy that will be debated for many years. His resignation is viewed by some as an act of courage, a bold move toward modernizing the monarchy, while to others, it signals weakness. In either case, his time on the throne, although brief, has left an indelible mark on the British monarchy. The changes he initiated, whether in global diplomacy or his focus on environmental issues, will likely be remembered as key elements of his reign. But the big question remains: will King Charles's decision to step down pave the way for a stronger monarchy under Prince William? Or will it mark the beginning of the end for an institution that had long been seen as the pillar of British identity? What are your thoughts on King Charles's resignation and the future of the monarchy? Share your views in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates on the evolving story of the royal family. Stay tuned as we continue to follow this monumental chapter in history.